And so they give the police now tactical gear. They look paramilitary.
Yes.
Paramilitary force.
And then what they do is they herd a group of sheep before them. And they say, go and attack. That's not what you're there for!
That's right. Back off.
If you're too scared to go after a gang member, you don't come picking on low-hanging fruit. These people are your community.
The civilians of Australia watched on in absolute disgust. You guys dropped the ball big time. Your colleagues were breaking the law every time they did something like that. Every single time. You have brought the name down of every single police officer in this country on a whole. You should be ashamed of your operation, ashamed of your group.
Stand with us. 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 In 1960, Lee Harper wrote a novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. A quote from To Kill a Mockingbird. And this is not only to my colleagues here, because you already know this stuff, my freedom colleagues, it's to the officers who are standing here. And I'll say with all due respect to my former police family, have a listen, please, to this message.
Speak up a bit.
I want you to see what real courage is. Instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand, it's when you know you are licked before you begin, but you begin anyway, and see it through, no matter what. Every police officer who joins because they have a desire to support their community. They have a desire to do what is right amongst the people that form their family and their friends. But somewhere along the way, that journey has been lost for some of our colleagues. And it's important to remember that not every police officer has gone down a path that is regrettable. If you need police, they will still come to your aid. But I'm not here to defend Victoria Police. I'm not here to defend anybody. I'm here simply to give a message that is very important for our police officers who still remain on duty. Firstly, as Jackie told us earlier, the Biosecurity Act is the overriding federal legislation that governs how the authority will manage any health crisis. Federal legislation overrides state statutes and public health orders. If anyone is suspected of being subject of a condition that requires quarantining, as Jackie said, those people should be issued an individual control order, and that should be able to be tested before a court. None of that has been done. All of the safeguards in the Biosecurity Act have been bypassed. And this nation at the moment, as we know, is lawless. It is time that not only the Australian community start to join the dots, but it's time that our law enforcement brothers and sisters who come from our own community, there will be people in this group that have family members who are police, brothers, cousins, uncles. They shop at the same shops. Their kids go to the same schools. And so do every officer who is standing here. I've been where you are. The ones up the back with their backs turned who are not even listening. Let's turn around and face our police family. We do not need to level abuse at them, that's not the point of this. But let's turn around and face the police officers in this forum right here. Instead of you serve us, stand with us is a far more powerful message. We do not need every officer to leave the police force. We need them there, but we need them to understand what's going on. We need them to come back to community. Stand with us. 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 Our police need to know. Our police need to know that the community wants to have a relationship with law enforcement. They want our police to be part of the community. But the damage that's been done so far, I again am not here to defend. And as I said earlier in admission to Melbourne on the first night, there's a place for righteous anger. Absolutely. We've heard from people like Matt Lawson and from other people who have been injured by overzealous thuggery from some of my police family. But let's talk about courage. Because every officer wants an opportunity to exercise that courage. And so they give the police now tactical gear. They look paramilitary.
Yes.
Foreign military force.
And then what they do is they herd a group of sheep before them. And they say, go and attack. That's not what you're there for!
That's right. Back off.
If you're too scared to go after a gang member, you don't come picking on low-hanging fruit. These people are your community. They want a relationship with you. They want to be able to trust you. They want to be able to tell their children, go to a police officer if you need help. That relationship is gone at the moment. You have a lot of work to rebuild that.
Yes.
But your community will allow you to do that. But you also need to understand the laws you enforce. Rules are not laws.
No.
You are not there to serve a government that is lawless. You have original authority. Every officer has discretion. You do not have to win at any cost. Many a time in my career, I've walked away from a situation, not out of cowardice, out of courage. So what takes more courage? I say to my colleagues, former colleagues, what takes more courage? Does it take courage to be armed with taser, baton, handcuffs, firearm, body armour, and then to confront mothers and fathers who are trying to support their families and trying to maintain their basic human rights? Does that take courage? To come in 6-on-1, put them on the ground? There is something in policing and there is something in law that acknowledges an act or an omission to act. It takes more courage if you see some of your colleagues acting unlawfully, acting like thugs, to actually step in and prevent that assault. That's where the courage is. The opportunity for you, Victoria Police, and for other police departments around Australia, and even around the world, because social media will carry this, the opportunity for police, that window of ignorance is bliss, is closing. It was bliss for all of us for a long time. That window is closing. Your opportunity, my former colleagues, to rebuild that relationship and come back to your oath of office and to exercise your discretion and understand your original authority, that window is closing, but it's not gone.
Yeah.
And I ask you to please consider carefully everything you do, every power you use. Every time you act upon a citizen, you do that with the utmost of integrity and awareness of the impact you have upon the community.
Hey. Yeah!
There is a lot of knowledge in this freedom community that policing and common law and the Constitution and all these things are at odds with one another. But at the moment, the presiding force that we have is the constabulary under statute. And so until and if and whenever that changes, we still need to work with that. So I ask my freedom community not to abuse the police, okay? They have done wrong, some have wronged. But there is still an officer there, there's still many that will come to your aid, that will come into a dangerous situation and will support you. One last point before I go. 18.3%. I want you to remember this number. This is a different topic, but it's very important. 18.3% of Australians did not vote in the last election. We know the votes are corrupt. We know the system's corrupt, but that's a big percentage for us to lose. And that wasn't Liberal and Labor voters. It was largely our people that decided there was no point. We're going to talk more about that as time goes on. But we need to harness that vote, and though that system is corrupt, we need to work with it until we can change it. God bless you, and God bless this amazing nation.
Hey guys, I've got told I'm going to make this quick. So this is actually a message to the Victorian police here today. My name is Tristan from the People's Revolution up there in Queensland. Making a film too, the bugger. The reason why I came down was because we watched on the last 2.5 years in disgust in the way that the Victorian police were treating their own people. Absolutely disgusting. We have a relationship with the Queensland police. They respect us and we respect them. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. I'm not saying any Victorian police here shot the people on that day or arrested him or body slammed him. As a whole, the civilians of Australia watched on in absolute disgust. You guys dropped the ball big time. Your colleagues were breaking the law every time they did something like that. Every single time. You have brought the name down of every single police officer in this country on a whole. You should be ashamed of your operation, ashamed of your group. And if you don't, your morals are extremely low and you need to start picking them up. I'm surprised the military didn't come in and start whooping your asses. Because next time you try that shit, maybe it's going to happen. And remember, there's 26 million civilians in this country. How many of you are there? You better start realising what team you're on. The Queensland cops are my brothers and sisters, and I tell them every time we see them. We shake hands, we actually give them hugs. They work with us. They might not agree on everything we do, but they're respectful. And what we've seen around this country, you guys have acted like absolute criminals. So I think it is important that we come down here and drill you. Because you guys need to have a chat to your own teammates and go, next time we get these shitty orders from Dictator Dan, we might want to say no, we might want to hand a badge in, because I'm telling you right now, the way this world's going, this country's leading to a communist dictatorship right now. If you don't believe it, bad luck. In a few years you're going to see it. You make the choice right now where this goes. You guys are the front line of this. You guys and you women, you're on the front line of this. If you want this country, if you want your children to have any sort of future where they have decisions and choices to be made, you start joining the people now, or it's too late, and we're going to blame you and we're going to come for you too. We are your brothers, we are your sisters, and I mean that. But when you need talking to, you need talking to. I'm not above you, I'm not below you, I'll walk with you. Always remember that. Alright? We're all together. All these people here, we're all together. This is dire straits, guys. We are in a big tough time. Why do you think these people have come from all around this country? I left my family to be here. I left my job behind. I've lost so much money coming down here. Because it's serious. And I look into your eyes when I say this, guys. You need to make better decisions going forward. You need to make better decisions. If it means handing your badge in, you hand it in. Have faith that you'll be looked after. I know you've got to put food on the table for your kids. I understand that. I've got 3 kids at home too. But sometimes you got to make the tough decision. I love you guys, all right? I love you. I want you guys to make the right decision next time and actually listen to these words. Don't stand there and ignore these words. We are in this is history-making time of the world. The biggest crime has been committed against humanity in the last 2.5 years. It doesn't matter what side you stand on. You have to stand with the people. All right, guys, we'll leave it there.